I wasn't entirely sure if I was gonna go through with making this video, because apparently this game is somewhat controversial. With fans, at the very least. Either you love it or you hate it. No real middle ground. And I guess I kind of understand that because, well, Max Payne 3 sucks. And here's why. Coming from the perspective of Max Payne 3 being the second sequel in the series, the third installment in the franchise where our titular character dons his leather coat, and the first in the line not to be made by the Finnish game studio Remedy, but by renowned game devs Rockstar Studios, this game is a real stinker. Now, long-winded, run-on sentences aside, Max Payne 3 is indeed the third time we get to visit the fucked up reality of Max Payne's life. The man who lost it all, twice, now gets to lose it a third time. Or does he? I never could figure out what Max's stake in all of this was. He doesn't seem to have any motivation to keep going, other than a small Colombian man whispering in his ear that it pays the bills. In this installment, Max has been moved from a gritty, noir-inspired New York and been placed in an equally gritty, but not even remotely noir, Sao Paulo. The change in scenery was not a necessary change, and Rockstar was certainly told so during the game's release in 2012 by both fans and professional critics alike, but it was hardly the downfall many originally portrayed it as. Surely Brazil could be suited for a noir-like adventure, if you really wanted it to be. But a decision was made, and Rockstar let go of not only the graphic novel-style storytelling featured prominently between chapters in the previous two games, but also the momentum of the previous games, by inserting unskippable cutscenes every few minutes of gameplay. Cutscenes that usually consist of nothing more than Max opening a door, walking back and forth, or getting behind a piece of cover and saying one of his newly discovered one-liners that would make Arnold Schwarzenegger look witty. I can't say who wrote the script for Max Payne 3 because I don't know and I don't really care, but Rockstar certainly thought that they knew someone better than Remedy's own Sam Lake, the writer behind Max Payne 1 and 2, which ended up being their biggest mistake. Not only is the tone of the game different, as I stated before, but Max Payne as a character is an almost unrecognizable being. And I don't just mean his looks. His internal monologue is more akin to that of someone trying real hard to seem like a John McClane-like action hero instead of the bottomless hole of self-pity that Max Payne is supposed to be. It's entirely shallow and meaningless, and the things he says are 100% out of character. Max Payne is self-hating. Now, they got that part down, but they missed the part when Max Payne is not supposed to be aware that he's a character in a video game. Sure, Max Payne has always been very meta, but not like this. He shouldn't say things that seem witty, as if he was trying to impress someone. Max Payne doesn't say things like, "I'd killed more cops than cholesterol," or "I might have written the book on bad ideas, but Passos wasn't afraid to quote from it."
So much for a lazy Sunday afternoon.
So, now that we have the harsh truth out of the way, what about the rest of the game? I mean, it is a game after all, not a movie. So, what's the gameplay like? And you know, it's pretty solid when you actually get to play it. The 2-3 minutes here and there where you're not just watching Max do things are quite fun. But there are also a lot of frustration to be had, and I attribute these to the game engine itself, because I've encountered similar frustrations in other Rockstar games built on the same game engine, like GTA 4. The movement is relatively clunky compared to that of contemporary third-person shooters or even the original Max Payne games. Physics and animations go hand in hand for both good and bad, and you'll find that Max often takes his sweet-ass time getting up from the floor after a really cool dive from behind a pillar, resulting in his sweet ass getting peppered with bullets. Which ultimately brings us to another point, and that being bullet time. For some reason, every single enemy in this game could rival Kenny S when it comes to aiming. You'll be shot dead in seconds if you ever leave cover, which means that you'll be using a lot of slow motion to outplay the enemies. Now that wouldn't be a problem if bullet time wasn't more precious and more difficult to come across than any other substance or mineral known to man. So what you'll end up doing a lot is something called shoot dodge. Yes, that's what it's actually called, shoot dodge. One word. In Max Payne 3, This means throwing yourself in any direction while firing your weapon. This gives you free bullet time, so long as you're in the air. But this move is really only helpful if you're on a higher ground than your opponents or standing behind a wall or a pillar. If you're trapped behind a waist-high wall, forget about it. You'll be dead before you get up, so keep hoarding those painkillers. What is the point of this video then anyway? One could very well ask, and one should. This game is ancient, so who the fuck cares? Anyone that ever thought about playing it has probably already done so and moved on with their life. But to be honest, I just really wanted to vent. I liked Max Payne a lot, and its sequel, The Fall of Max Payne, is one of my all-time favorite games. Meanwhile, Max Payne 3 is hot garbage, and anyone that says otherwise is a complete tool. Just kidding. But not really. However, if you made it this far and haven't played Max Payne, and you're a person who likes things with some substance, and what I mean by that is, if you do feel interested in this game, play the first 2 installments as well. Or really, play the first 2 and stop, because this game is about as true to the roots of the series as the Star Wars prequels were. Or the new Star Wars sequels, now that I think about it. Cue outro!
I was guessing these guys didn't spend their spare time studying the Geneva Convention.